Okay, so why did Edward VI skip over Mary and Elizabeth for his heir when Elizabeth too was a Protestant? So this is a really good question and a prime example to show just how manipulative his council were. So as you may already know, Edward VI was of course Henry VIII's only surviving male heir, and he went on to rule after Henry VIII died. He was the first Protestant king to rule over England, but because he became king at just 9 years old, he couldn't rule on his own, and he had a Lord Protector as well as several council members who were helping him rule the country. These were mostly Protestants, and they were very manipulative of the young king. When it became clear that Edward VI was dying at just 15 years old, his council kind of freaked out, thinking that his heir, the Catholic Mary I, would ruin everything that they had been working so hard to achieve, which was leading England further into Protestantism. They were right, of course. When Mary did become queen, she did try to return England to Catholicism, but regardless, it gave them no right to skip over his rightful heir, as appointed by his father, Henry VIII. Henry VIII's will clearly stated that Edward VI was his heir, and if he were to die childless, Henry's daughter Mary would be his next in line, and after her, if she were to die childless, Elizabeth, and after Elizabeth, then the Lady Jane Grey. But of course, his council just wanted to skip Mary altogether. However, to do that, they couldn't simply say that it's because they didn't like that she was Catholic. This would just not have flown. So what did they do instead? They claimed that Mary had no right to inherit the throne of England because she was deemed illegitimate. But then, if she was illegitimate, so was Elizabeth. So for their plan to have even a leg to stand on, they couldn't simply say Mary couldn't be queen because she was illegitimate, but then plonk Elizabeth on the throne. And so they went on to skip both the daughters of Henry VIII and went right over to the fourth in line, the Lady Jane Grey. The Lady Jane was not only a Protestant, but she was also a legitimate child of Frances Brandon, who was the daughter of Mary Tudor, Henry VIII's sister, so her line was legitimate, royal, good to go. And she'd just coincidentally been married to Edward VI's Lord Protector's son, Guildford Dudley. And this meant that the Dudley line would be the next kings or queens of England. So you see, there's a few reasons, but the people of England did not stand for it. They rallied with Mary I. They supported her claim to the throne. They did not for a second believe that she was illegitimate anyway. And then when Mary died childless, Elizabeth claimed the throne after her.